Hello. Well, you may ask, what am I doing at home on a nice sunny day like this? And I should be out working. I've got COVID, believe it or not. I don't feel that bad. I feel like I've just got a bad cold, really. There must be thousands of people walking about with COVID and don't know they got it, because everyone's got these colds and that, and I wouldn't know I had COVID. Just the missus works with kids and she got ill. Both got ill at the same time. She's quite rough, actually. And she tested twice positive, so I thought about taking a test, and I tested twice positive. So yeah, it's COVID. So Russell was all right about going in, but I said no, I'll keep it away for a couple of days. Hopefully, I'll get better quicker, and no one else will get it. So here we are. Tennis elbow, the scourge of bricklaying, amongst other things, isn't it? Bad backs and what have you. Before I start, I'm not a doctor or anything like that, but I've had experience of tennis elbow. I know quite a lot about it. So I'll just tell you my story, really. You take out of it what you will. I first got it around about 1981, I think, when I went to Australia. And I didn't get it in my trowel arm. That was fine. It was in my other arm. I'm waiting for something on the phone here. I don't know what caused it. I suppose it was just the way we used to work out there was different. The bricks are bigger, they're wider, so you've got to grab hold of more. And we lifted quite high because we was building bungalows out there all the time. We never had any scaffold, so you went up very high as you could. And the top bit of the scaffold, what we used for scaffold, was just oil drums with a couple of boards on it. It was really backward, to be quite honest. I think they're still doing it like that, but it was quick, you didn't need to carry a load of stuff about, but yeah. So I started having the cortisone injections, and they work for a while, don't they? And then they come back, and yeah, it weren't good. So I come back to the UK, and I had about 5 of these injections over a period of about 18 months. My mum was an orthopaedic nurse, and when I told her, she went mad. She said, you're just making it worse with these injections. So she got me in with the surgeon she worked with, an eminent surgeon. I think he definitely pioneered these tennis elbow straps, because he gave me one. Now we're going back 1980, I think 1983, 1984 when this happened. I got straight in to see him. Obviously, I didn't have to get in any waiting list, because with my mum, unfortunately, that's the way it works, isn't it? So And what a character he was. I turned up there and had to, go to his office for a pre-thing, and he had his Jaguar parked outside on the double yellow line, no parking sign. And I went in his office. He was sat there, and he had the really expensive suit, shirt on, and all that. I don't know what nationality he was. He was Oriental, but dark, might be Malaysian or something like that. Very nice man. But he sat in his office there, and big sign behind him, no smoking. He sat there with a great big cigar on like that. So, he was the kid. He could do what he wanted to. Anyway, yeah, I got in, and I had the surgery within a week. The only problem with the surgery, and I don't know what it's like now, it might be more keyhole now, I couldn't work for about 6 weeks after. The pain was unbelievable. You just couldn't work, but I say it might be easier now. I took off to America. I went to America for about 5 or 6 weeks on a break. It's them days, isn't it? In the 80s, we had loads of money. You had more money than what you do now. The money just went further. There was loads of work. I was living my own in the flat, and yeah, there was no problem just to jump in the plane, go to America for 6 weeks. That's what we did. So that healed up then. I have had no trouble with that elbow since that day, since that operation. Now you see me wear this tennis elbow strap sometimes. Now the only reason I wear that is I've had just a twinge sometimes, over the years, and I'm just thinking I've had one op. I'm getting too old for it now, I'll just pack up work if it happened again. But I don't think you can have another operation, be quite honest. So I wear that, it's just for protection. It's a bit of belt and braces, that's all. But be quite honest, the surgery was an absolute success. But it's time off work. Right. what the causes of it, the causes of tennis elbow. There's nothing to do with your elbow, it's your wrist. That wrist movement moves these tendons, and them tendons are anchored there. So when you keep moving it like that, it wears there, and that's what happens. Now these tennis elbow straps, they do work. There's lots of different types. If you put that on there like that, tie her up, there, that way. Okay, that restricts the movement of that tendon, so you can move that wrist more, and it doesn't quite work all its way up to there. So it helps. Another one you can have is actually a wrist strap, which holds your wrist straight, but you're not going to be able to work properly with that on, are you? So yeah, but that was my left arm, that was my lifting arm. A lot of people have found if they use a low lift trowel, the Rose low lift, if they're getting tennis elbow in their trowel arm, that helps a lot. Why that is, I suppose, because you're not having to move your wrist so much to move the mortar about, are you? Because it's a low lift. It makes sense. A lot of people don't. I don't like a low lift trowel, and a lot of people pick them up and they don't like them. But to be quite honest, after a week, you get used to any trowel. I better write a few things down here so I won't forget. Where were we? Right, yeah, straps. Right, there's loads of different things you can try, and I'll go through them. Obviously, the cold compress, you can use that. Painkillers, I'm going to go back to the steroid injections. Acupuncture works for a lot of people. I had that, it didn't work for me. Acupressure, the same thing. The TENS machine, I've got one of them, it don't work for me. Red heat, I've never tried. Deep tissue massage can help, as well as reflexology. And there's shockwave therapy, which is quite good, but you have to go get that done. And other than surgery, the most drastic one is platelet plasma injections, and that's where they take plasma from somewhere and inject it there, and it repairs it somehow, but I don't know too much about that. All these things, what I mentioned here, just Google them, and they're all on YouTube everywhere. Yeah, we went for the surgery, it works. Now, the steroid injections, if you're going to have a steroid injection, and I had one in my shoulder recently, well, probably 2 years ago now, and I've torn the tendons up here, and they said they was irreparable, and it was a problem. 2 years ago I had the injection in there and it's fine, nothing wrong with it at all. I had one in my hand about 9 months ago, didn't work. Everyone's different horses for courses, isn't it? Where was I? Oh right, yeah, steroid injections. If you have the injection in your arm, because a lot of these GPs ain't got a clue what they're talking about, you must rest it. It's no good, people have done that, and they go straight back to work, and you're going to ruin it, I did read years ago when I was looking into it that after the injection, you should put your arm in a sling for a week. In a sling, so you cannot use it. Just have the week off. You can't use it. Give that injection a chance to, work, repair it, and for the thing to rest. So I would definitely suggest that. Other than that, it's the same old thing, and it changes your job, but that's not that easy, is it? Yeah, it's just one of them things, everyone's different, aren't they? It's like people say about odd carrying, people put these pictures up of old carriers on these Facebook sites. Time he's 30, he'll be doubled over and this, that and the other. That's not always the case. I've got, myself included, I still carry the odd now. I've got 2 friends who are top odd carriers and worked till their late 30s, and one's 72 and he's still on the trail now doing a bit, and the other one's a little bit younger than me, 64 maybe, and he's on the trail now. Top odd carriers, work with with good price gangs, use the muck odd as well. There's nothing wrong with them. They've got no backaches, they're fine, Yeah, I know people who sit at a desk and get a bad back, everyone's different, it's not like that. Right, yeah, I hope that helps really. It's just you've got to try all these things. I've been doing a bit of research on a video I'm going to be doing shortly. I'm waiting for a message now from someone. I'm trying to set something up. Me and Mick, it's Mick's 70th birthday. We're going abroad. We're going to another country, and we're going fishing, drinking, and we're doing some history in the brickwork, architecture, and the origins of modern bricklaying, really. So it'll be a bit of everything now. Looking forward to it. There'll be a couple. I think we go on the. Did write it down somewhere. 13th, I think we go. Next month. So yeah, that'd be good. But in the research, I've come across some documents and that. They're books, but they was written in the mid 1700s, and they obviously exist somewhere. But they're online. But I've tried to find the books. You can't get the books. And the interesting thing I found was the hours bricklayers worked in the mid 1700s. They worked from 6 in the morning till 6 at night, 6 days a week, and they worked till 6 till 8, and they had a half-hour break for breakfast, and then midday they broke for an hour, had an hour's break, and then worked till 6 o'clock at night. And they drank a lot of beer and they drank a lot of gin, and they got rained off and frosted off a lot in the winter. So not much has changed, has it? And I was looking into it, and there was a bricklayer, an eminent bricklayer, there's quite a few of them actually, it's quite interesting reading, who was a poet as well. And he wrote this poem, well it's an epitaph really, of a dead bricklayer. And he wrote it in 1738, and I thought I'd just read it out to you. Here lies secure, full 6 foot deep, a jolly bricklayer fast asleep. Disturb him not, but let him rest, close with his trowel on his chest, who so many winters has gone through, with many a storm of wind and snow, eat many a pound of cheese and bread, and many a sprat, both tail and head, drank many a glass of gin and beer, and yet he could not tarry here, for chalk so much behind the door, the meagre host would draw no more, so took him hence to pay the score. Yeah, not changed much, has it really? 1738 till now. Lived the same kind of lives, didn't we, really? Right, I hope that was a bit of help. And I'm going back to work tomorrow, I think. I've got that chimney to finish with Russell, so we'll be doing that. Right, speak to you later.